Hi everyone, my name is Julie and thank you for clicking on this video today. This is part of my No Buy 2020 series, and today's video is going to be my 1 month check-in. So checking in on how my no buy has gone for all of January 2020. So I'm now 1 month in. As of today, it is the 28th of January, so I do have 3 more days technically left in the month. But I wanted to go ahead and film this because I have the time, and also because I'm pretty confident that in the next 3 days nothing drastically is going to change. So I did make some notes in a little notebook here. So if you see me sort of looking over at that, that's what it is. It's my notes that I've kept on my thoughts and my feelings throughout the month and how it's changed. And so yeah, I'll go ahead and get started, and we'll start right at the beginning. So I was inspired in December to do a 1 year no buy by Hannah Louise Poston, as I've mentioned in several of my videos. I've since found other people on YouTube and Instagram who are doing no buys for 2020. I do think it's growing as a trend, probably as a backlash to all of the really heavy consumerism that was pushed by a lot of YouTubers over the past few years. But I don't think that any of our spending habits, at least not mine, can be blamed on YouTubers. I don't think I was trying to attain that sort of lifestyle of trying to emulate them. I'm in my mid-30s. I hope that's not the case, at least. But I did develop some really poor shopping and spending habits, particularly in times of stress. So I would shop as a stress release. And just as a way to very temporarily feel better. But as I've mentioned, it would result in this cycle where I'd feel more stressed out because I'd spent the money, so then I would go and buy more to alleviate that stress, which of course then looped back into feeling stressed out because I'd spent the money. So anyway, so I have a whole other video about my actual reasons for going to this no buy. So this, I will try to keep it focused on January 2020. But anyway, so I was motivated to start in December, and in December I did do a lot of panic shopping. So last minute, everything I wanted to get, and some of it I still haven't received because I had it shipped to the States to a friend of mine, and he is going to be shipping it over to me within the coming days here to the Netherlands where I live. So I think that will still make January a bit of a cheap month in that sense. I haven't bought anything new. I haven't bought anything new outside of my rules this month. But yet, if there's still an influx of new products, that sort of satiates that need for newness. But in any case, I'll talk about those products once they actually do arrive. But if we go back to sort of what I was feeling on the 31st of December, I was super anxious leading up to sort of when the clock was going to strike midnight. And I would no longer be able to buy anything. So I did do a lot of shopping, a lot of ordering, oh, but what if I want this or what do I need that? Which is, again, not great. But in particular, what I noticed on January 1st, probably 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd, January 4th, is I felt panicked and super anxious. I felt really stressed out that I was going to fail in my no buy, and then what I was gonna do, because if I couldn't hold myself accountable, how was I ever going to get out of this cycle of spending so much of my income on non-necessities, and how was I ever going to improve my savings and my retirement fund? And so I was really panicked about not being able to do it, but also desperately wanting to want at the same time, which is quite paradoxical. It's quite bizarre, but wanting to want is something that I know Prachi, who's doing a no buy and does videos here on YouTube, has talked about, Hannah Louise Poston. But it's this sense of there's nothing specific that you want, but you just want to want something. And so you're out there on these sites looking at oh, what could I possibly want? What could possibly be the next thing that I really lust after? And nothing was coming to mind. And that was probably because, in part, that I was so inundated by all of the purchases that I made in December. And then partly because January, early January at least, is a bit of a lull for new releases. The holiday releases are over. They haven't quite come to any Valentine's things or any springtime things. And so I just couldn't find anything to want, but I desperately had that desire to want, add something to my little wish list that I could sit there and obsess over and plan my purchase and all of that. And I think also obviously part of that is because that becomes so much of my habit. of like curating these lists, planning my purchases, where would I get it for what sales, and how would I hit the threshold to get the, gift with purchase and all of that. So I definitely carried that over into the start of the new year. So that was the first few days. And then around maybe the 4th, the 5th, moving onwards there, I just started to get super overwhelmed by the size of my collection. And the amount of beauty products that I have, both makeup, but also like skincare, like lotions, like body lotions and hand lotions and shampoos and samples and perfumes and lipsticks and all of this stuff. I just got super overwhelmed. And I don't know completely like where that came from, because I've kept an inventory list of my entire beauty collection for several years now. So I literally have Excel sheets with pretty much every single product, and in some cases every single sample that I own. So it's not as if I had just cataloged these things and just came to the revelation of how many products I actually own. But I think I was really, for the first time, grappling with like, wow, if the focus of this year is to like use things up and reduce the size of my collection, it's going to take me a really, really long time to do that. Because I have so many products. Like, there are so many people out there who, for example, have set themselves rules where they're allowed to repurchase items once they've used up everything in that category that they already own. And I look at my collection and I don't think I will have that at all this year. Like, I currently can't foresee any category in which like I don't have sufficient backups or extras or other products that are like waiting in the wings that I will get to that point of like needing to repurchase because I've used everything up. And that just felt super, super overwhelming, because although I don't have any ambitions to be a minimalist, I do also, part of this is to make it easier for me to like move and to house my products and to have a collection that is a manageable size in terms of actually being able to like rotate through and use everything. And so I felt really overwhelmed, and already I know that I would love to get to this point where like, where I have like one set of shampoo and conditioner. I have one body wash. I have, like one beloved body lotion and a couple of hand creams, like one for my work desk, one for home, and one for my handbag, and not like 30 of them. So I felt really overwhelmed, and that sort of, though, reassured me to think like, okay, I can really do this, because in looking at all of this stuff, I really just feel like how excessive and overdone it is, and how I have way too much and way more than I need or that I want. And so that was really motivating in like, I want to use these things up. I don't want to go out and start looking for more stuff. I don't want to purchase more because I have enough. Like, I have too much. So that was actually quite a reassuring feeling in the end, even though it did feel a bit like frustrating also, because of course with this overwhelm comes these feelings of like, why did I buy this much in the first place? Why have I spent so much money on these products? Can I possibly use them up before they go bad? Because a lot of these are like cream-based, oil-based, some of them are organic, natural products, all of that. So that does bring a bit of like frustration with myself, but I'm also a person who like doesn't dwell on that terribly, in the sense that there's nothing I can do to change it. All I can do is change my behavior moving forward. So in trying to change my behavior moving forward, a couple of things that I want to do this year are, in my Excel sheet, I've started to like color tag everything. So products that I have used, I tag like in like a yellow color, because at the end of this year, I would like to see all of the products that I've used up. Like, not used up, that I've tried, that I've used at least once. So like each eyeshadow palette, or each blush, or each highlighter, or like this base product. Because for me, I have so many products that I haven't used ever, or haven't used in a really long time. And so I think that's a really fun way, and it also encourages me to like diversify and try different things in my collection. It's a bit at odds with my goal of using up 20 products within 2020, which I did post on my Instagram. So they're like certain products. One I've already finished up, so that's great. So I now have 19 to work through. So trying to like rotate through my stash is a bit at odds with that. But I think those 20 products can be the ones that I fall back on while I try and like dabble into like new products. I'm also trying to use all of the products that are new to me, So like products that I either have in my existing collection or that I ordered in December, I want to actually use them and test them and try them out at least once, so they don't go into my set of Alex drawers back there and just never be heard from again, because that's also something that I'm prone to doing. So I'm quite excited about that. And just in terms of, I want to do a separate video about what I'm not going to buy, a la Kimberly Clark. I mentioned that in my first video about wanting to do those. But I will say here that the only products that have really tempted me are the Chantecaille Spring 2020 collection. It's the sort of like hummingbird collection. I think they have a warm eyeshadow palette, a cool eyeshadow palette, a highlighter maybe, and 4 different lip products. And it's particularly the cool eyeshadow palette and the Lip Chic in Honeysuckle, which their Lip Chics are phenomenal. It's like my favorite formula of lipstick, just that genre, like that like glossy lip I really love. And it has really cute packaging, and they give some of their profits each time to a sort of environmental cause or some sort of like advocacy. And so for this, it's going to, and I think an indigenous tribe in the rainforest who want to buy up a certain plot of land so that they can help preserve the wildlife and the natural like flora and fauna that are found there. So I think that's super admirable. And so that's the only thing that's really tempted me. And I did earlier today, watch a couple of videos on YouTube of people who have started to get a few items from that collection. And they did pretty much, I think all 3 that I watched compared or made the comparison that Honeysuckle is super close to the Lip Veil shade in Honey Pot. They're different finishes, but super similar in color. So that's kind of dimmed the desire for those new products from Chantecaille. But mainly I'm feeling pretty good. Like I'm feeling so far like, if I ever really want them, I could probably find them on like Poshmark or Mercari, or better yet, I already have them in my collection. Like I guarantee that between Honey Pot and a different like glossier finished lip, I could recreate Honeysuckle. Or same thing with the eyeshadow palettes. Like it's just because I think they're limited edition, and I love Chantecaille that like this is kind of bubbling up in me again. But so far I've managed to like acknowledge it and acknowledge that I want those things and not become fixated on it or dwell on it. And then I did buy with a gift card the Chanel Warm Memories eyeshadow quad, which is I believe now permanent, but it's from their Spring 2020 collection. That's the only new thing I've bought except for a nail file, because I use a crystal nail file because my nails are terrible. They're super weak, and I dropped the file and it broke because it's glass. So I bought a new one, and that's on its way. But yeah, those are the only things, and those were fully within my rules, so I'm completely sticking to it easily. I haven't found it that challenging, I've gone through like different emotions, and it does change day to day, and I'm trying to reflect on that both so I can share it, and so also that I can like acknowledge it internally and see what's going on there. So it's changing, but I'm super excited, and there's a really, really awesome community of people who are doing no buys, and I found that super helpful. There's Ali Pans, who I've sort of been in touch with on Instagram, and then she just started a YouTube channel where she's also documenting her progress and what's going on with her and her no buy. So that's been really great, and just there's a lot of really supportive people out there. So I'm excited to kind of continue on this, and it's 1 month out of 12, so hardly started yet, even really, not even like 10% of the way down, obviously, but I'm really excited and still completely motivated and really glad that I'm doing this. And also I feel like it has lifted this huge burden off of me in terms of like stress and managing my finances, and I'm really now being much more realistic about my spending, how much I was spending, and how long, and what is going to be needed to pay it all off, and then be able to start getting into really like saving all of this money that I was previously spending on these sorts of items. So that's been really great and really eye-opening, and it's weirdly like really rewarding though to be able to do that and to like, plan like a budget and put all this money to paying off some of my debts and actually being able to do it. So that's been really, really awesome. Moving forward, I want to continue to use the products. I've got a bag full of empties to film, and I'm just waiting on finishing up a couple of more products before the end of the month before I film that. I want to film what I'm not going to buy. sort of continue with my inventory series. I've done my cream blushes and my eyeshadow palettes. I think I want to do like powder blushes, eyeshadow singles, you know, other base products, all of that. I'm doing that in a combination on my YouTube and on my Instagram. So like on my Instagram, I swatched all my eyeliners because they're just not exciting enough to talk about. But yeah, so I will go ahead and continue this here. And so with that, that's it for now. And I will just see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye. So I have the coolest shirt ever. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get it? French speakers think it's hilarious. Slash just me. Okay.